Here he's illustrated as a faceless judge. And the reason that he's a judge is because the World Trade Organization has these tribunals. And in these tribunals, they decide whether the laws of a country are barriers to trade. So for example, let's say a country decides that they don't want a certain gasoline additive. They want to ban a gasoline additive because it pollutes water. Well, then the corporation that sells the gasoline that has the additive in it can sue using the World Trade Organization, and then the World Trade Organization will convene a tribunal and will say, country, you need to pay this corporation $10 million, and we're going to strike down that law. So, the faceless judge, in one hand, he is a riot cop, hand puppet, that's playing cop-a-mole with all these resistance movements. And so that's to represent every time the World Trade Organization meets, because they're very anti-democratic, and because they get rid of labor laws, labor protections, they get rid of environmental protections, that's what they're designed to do. Every time they meet, they're resisted with huge protests. And so every time there's these huge protests, they get repressed. And so, for example, we have different social movements here, and right here is the Korean farmers who came out in full force when the WTO met in Hong Kong a few years ago, which maybe some of you went to or heard about. In the other hand, he has this symbol, which is an axe, and then with a bundle of sticks tied around it. And does anyone know what that is? I know you know what that is.
A fascist.
A fascist symbol. And can you say a little bit about the fascists?
A fascist is an old weapon, instrument, symbolizes fascism.
So it's where the word fascism comes from. And the bundle of sticks is supposed to represent the power of the state to rule the masses, and the axe represents the power of the state to take life. And hanging off the fascists is this balance, where you see all these different hats of different indigenous cultures, but it's being outweighed by a top hat with a velvet pillow to represent the interests of the elite. So, in this corner, we have the Inter-American Development Bank, which I'm sure there's an Asian Development Bank as well. These are the regional banks that lend the money to the countries so they can build these huge development projects. So this project is called Plan Puebla Panama, from Puebla, Mexico to Panama. And it included over 300 dam projects and roads and highways and dry canals and pipelines. And you can see this PR guy is showing PPP with a rainbow, with a pot of gold at the end. All this development will lead to riches, and we're going to connect the Americas with the rainbow. And you can see all these paper cutout people representing the public. But they're being wrung out by these finger puppet politicians and then being shaken down for their cash. And you can see the coins are turning into pipelines, and the dollar bills are turning into roads. Oh, sure. So, here we go. And that represents the fact that all of these development projects are paid for by the public. So the governments take the loans, they give all the money to these large corporations to develop infrastructure, but then it's the public who pays. Right down here, we have the World Bank, which is much like the regional banks, but it's for the whole world. Does anyone want to explain the World Bank?